Hey everybody, video here for you today. We are going to document another ancient America site. And I know these videos don't have the largest stones or the most mysterious this and that, but it's just what happened and that's good enough for me. Today we're going to go down to Savannah, Georgia, and a lot of these cities in the United States. Very first thing was a mound site in a lot of these cities here. Here's the location of the ancient mound site, and a branch of the river used to run through here in ancient times. But let's just go down and take a quick peek here. Here's the location of the mound, and just a little bit rises above the current surface, but plenty of artifacts here. Civilization was living down here for centuries in ancient times, maybe 3,000–4,000 years ago. But there was a lot of things pulled out of the ground here. A lot of stuff still exists underneath the ground today. Looters have been down here, but let's just read a little. But I found this paper here. It goes over a lot of the information on the Bilbo site. It says Bilbo site is late Archaic period shell mound primarily associated with occupations during the St. Simon's phase. The site is located in a low swampy area near the mouth of the Savannah River. The shell midden accumulation that defines the mound covers a roughly circular area of approximately 1,200 square meters and extends as much as 80 centimeters above the surrounding mound ground surface. The base of the midden deposit at its greatest depth is about 2 meters below the current surface, and a lot of artifacts have been pulled out of here, and there still remains a lot under the surface. It says the midden contains well-preserved cultural remains that include stratigraphic evidence of early production of plain fiber tempered pottery, followed by the addition of decorated fiber tempered wares. There's the location of the site, plus kind of what it looks like today, and then if you were really walking around and didn't know what you were on top of, you would have no idea probably this was an ancient mound. It says Bilbo site was first investigated during the summer of 1939 as part of the Chatham County Archaeological Project of the WPA under the general supervision of Joseph Caldwell. And the site was excavated by an Antonio Waring Jr. It says Waring's research revealed a deep stratigraphic sequence that showed the transition of plain to decorated fibered pottery and a rich association of lithic and bone artifacts. Now here is a map of the overall site with where they did the excavation trenches in 1939 and then also did some work here in 1957. And here is a map of the overall site. The squares are test pits that were dug, and then these are vandal holes. There have been looters that have been digging in this mound for a while, I guess, and they had to put up some chain link fence and other protective measures. But here they are digging down. This is test pit number 16. And they have a deposit of charred debris on top of blue clay. Now here's the Bilbo Site radiocarbon analysis results. And you can see here they took different samples from different depths in the mound. And some of these dates go back from 3,600 years to over 4,000 years ago. And there's a corrected calendar age range and then a calibrated calendar age range, and it's a little confusing, but dates here going back over 4,000 years. Now here's some of the stuff they found. At the top left, some decorated pottery fragments, what they call a perforated steatite discs from the test pit number 14. And down at the bottom, some stem points. It says they are typical late archaic Savannah River forms. A graver is shown on the far left. All are coastal plain chert from sources non-local to the mouth of the Savannah River. But bones from mammals they found at the site, from deer, rabbit, raccoon, possum, fox or dog, alligator bones, box turtle, snapping turtle, and then gar and sturgeon and drum as far as fish goes. So some pretty big fish there. Here's what they call leather fragments from the Bilbo site. Seems like they have little holes in them. And what they were using these for, I'm not sure. I will leave the link for this paper below. They have a lot of good charts here, a lot of good documentation coming from this ancient mound. And here is a map of how the river channels ran way before the city of Savannah was built. The Bilbo site was built in a very wet area here. Here is an 1864 map showing landscape and approximate locations of the Bilbo and the Delta site. Right here, another ancient site in the area. But sites this place could be comparable to, this is An artist's reconstruction of the Booger Bottom Mound village site. I'm not making that up. Booger Bottom Mound and village site coming from 800 to 500 BC. The Booger Bottom Mound and village site is located on the upper Chattahoochee River, coming from about 2,800 years ago. But these people were probably associated with the people who were living on the mound there in present-day Savannah. It says here, as early as 2200 BC, oval-shaped mounds were being constructed along the Savannah River. They were the norm during the Woodland period and then reappeared in the late Mississippi and early Lamar periods. They represent an indigenous, homegrown architectural tradition which remained independent of influence from the remainder of other cultures in the Americas. Also covered in this paper is what is called the Delta Site, studies at that area too. And here is one of the things found at the Delta Site, a bold, simple stamp pot, as it is called here. But they found a lot of fire clay artifacts and stone artifacts here at this site. But getting back to the Bilbo site, here are the stratigraphic contexts that were found during each excavation. There was hearths, pits, clay areas, and just a whole remnants of an ancient culture. Also, a lot of seeds were found here, gourd, squash, tupelo gum seeds, and other things here. And here are a couple what they call etched bone pins that were found at the site here. It concludes this way: the Bilbo Shell Mound remains one of the most significant archaeological sites on the Georgia coast. Despite extensive vandalism and prior excavations, as much as 70% of the site contexts are still intact, while future investigations undoubtedly will contribute to our understanding of North American life and culture during the late mid-Holocene. The next research stage should focus on assembly, inventory, and reanalysis of existing collections rather than on additional excavation at the Bilbo site. Although much can be learned from these existing data, every effort should be made to preserve the archaeological information contained within the undisturbed deposits of the site for future advanced study. That is my video on the Bilbo Mound site in present-day Savannah, Georgia. A lot of sites yet to go in my Ancient America series, but just documenting a lost history in the place we call the United States today. Hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very nice day.